So with so many videos out there, books, programs, transformation processes, trainers promoting this process of losing weight, whether you're following a strict program or maybe a strict program followed by a maintenance program or a introductory program followed by a maintenance program, all these actions of what you should be eating, what you should not be eating has not really worked, right? Because as a nation, we're continuing to get more and more overweight. So in this video, you're going to discover what is really one of three root things that you can really address that actually leads to permanent weight loss without dieting, without willpower, without sacrifice, without discipline. So this is Dr. Steve, owner and founder of Body Solutions. And so I'm sort of sitting here in my little organic garden that we have with tomatoes and cucumbers and things. And I want to talk about where the real practice and focus can be placed on, not so much the food that you're eating, but really what is your relationship with food, right? Because I guarantee you, you're not eating unhealthy foods and then going, oh my God, I am shocked that was unhealthy. I didn't realize that I just ate this unhealthy food, or I didn't realize that I ate this much food when really all I wanted and needed was this much food, right? That is probably not what you're thinking when you eat those foods. In fact, what you're probably feeling is maybe sadness, maybe loneliness, just, unhappy. Maybe you're overstressed and anxious. And then because that feeling is so overwhelming, you then look at a certain food, right? Some of your comfort foods, and then you eat the food and you feel better while you're eating it, right? You get a reprieve from those emotions that you felt before that food. And for a temporary time, you feel better. However, after the food, it could be moments after, it could be minutes or hours after, you feel this sense of guilt and possibly shame, right? And so this is a very common mental, emotional process, and essentially it's this sort of abusive relationship with food where you're using food for certain emotions. And if you've been doing that, that's perfectly fine. It's exactly what your soul wants you to experience right now, because it's such great insight as to this lesson you just haven't learned. And that lesson may simply be that food is not a source of these reprieving of emotions, right? It's not a tool that you use, right? Food is nourishing. It's part of the essence of life. You really can't go too long without eating food. And food should nourish your body. It's not something that you use. And part of the reason why your soul has led you to this path, it's not good or bad. It's simply presenting a lesson in front of you. And so it is your amazing opportunity to learn the lesson of how do you get back to this nourishing state of food and playful state of food. When you were a kid, you kind of like threw it around, you played with food. As a kid, you didn't like, I'm too stressed, I'm going to eat some French fries, right? When you were 3, 4, 5, this doesn't exist. Food was just a part of your life. It was joyous. And so the practice of getting back to that, I would recommend just one, looking at what is your current emotional relationship with food. You might want to keep a journal, how you feel before you eat, and then during you eat, and then after you eat. And just really journaling and writing down what is that relationship like, and how is that how was that helpful at one phase of your life? Because at some point, when you adopted this relationship, it actually was very helpful for you. You needed that. Recognize that you may not currently need that anymore, and you can let go of that type of relationship and move on to a different relationship with food, right? Right? Just remember, keep in mind that this was not bad, and it's not bad that you're doing this. You needed that at a moment in time. There was a lesson learned, and there was a greater purpose of you establishing this relationship, but you may no longer need that now. And so I invite you to the opportunity to letting go of that relationship and establishing a different relationship, a healthy relationship. And as you move towards that, which is why I'm sort of sitting in this garden, you can sort of move towards healthier eating, right? And you're like, well, what's healthy? So one of the reasons why I'm kneeling on the floor here in front of the garden is I highly recommend that you eat more foods that's organic. I call it foods that have not been in through a bag or a box or a machine, right? So foods that was ideally from the dirt to your house, or a dirt supermarket to your house. That's healthy foods. And we call it the 80-20 rule. If 80% of the time you're eating foods from that source, you're fine. The other 20%, it doesn't matter, right? But as you move towards this type of choice in food, in that process, practice your relationship with food. You know, journal, write down, and just look at the relationship with food, because that's where the practice is. It's not the dieting and the carbohydrates and the fats and the proteins and all that stuff, right? Because if that was the answer, we would all be in amazing shape. And so this is where your attention goes. And as you put your attention and clarity on this relationship, I guarantee you will no longer have to struggle with calories and exercising because you're eating too much, because your relationship with food becomes one of nurturing and not one of utility, right? You're not using tools or food as a tool to feel a certain way. So put this into practice. I would love to hear from you. Any comments below if you've already have been in this practice, if you've done it for a while or you don't know where to start, comment below. I would love to hear thoughts from you to be able to help you with what I consider sort of permanent weight loss. And really, this is more than just weight loss. Weight loss is just a side effect of having a nurturing relationship with food. It's really just about a more peaceful mindset, right? A healing mindset. And I'm blessed to be able to have this journey. There was a time in my life where I literally measured food. Some of you may know me. I used to bring my own food to restaurants, right? And I would ask them to sort of heat my food up for me, because I wanted to control my calories and my carbohydrates and my fats. And I had to sort of experience that imbalance for me to sort of practice my balance now. So look forward to hearing your experiences and your journey in this, and possibly helping you in any way or guiding you towards this practice.